Hello and welcome to the Rask Network. What you're about to hear and see is limited to general financial information only. Please be sure to speak to your financial planner or refer to our financial services guide available at rask.com.au/FSG before acting on the information.
Hello and welcome back to the Australian Finance Podcast. I'm your host, Kate Campbell, and today I am joined by my wonderful co-host, Owen Rask. Owen, welcome to the show today.
Kate, it is an absolute delight to be recording with you. On a Friday morning, we are recording this a little bit earlier than the episode usually goes to air, but we're talking about entertainment on a budget. So we've got a lot for people.
Yes, and we're both battling the hay fever demons at the moment. Melbourne's blowing up a dust storm, so my entertainment today will probably be staying inside.
Yeah, well, that will save you money, assuming you don't jump onto too many subscriptions. But it is a bit like that. The sun is coming up in Melbourne. For everyone else that looks upon Melbourne and says, not very sunny down there, we're starting to get some. So we're happy about that. But it does come with hay fever. So, Kate, set the scene for us. Entertainment on a budget.
Yes. So we know that cost of living is hitting everyone at the moment. Even the people on really decent salaries are having to cut back on certain things. And so we wanted to talk about all the ways you can still have fun while being mindful of your budget and your expenses, because maybe you're paying a bit more in rent or in mortgage costs than you were 12 months ago, 24 months ago. So you're feeling it a bit. But we want to talk about how you can keep having fun, keep enjoying life, because that's a really important part of the puzzle. It's not just how you're investing your money, it's how you're investing your time while not costing the earth. So a lot of these things aren't going to be new to you, but they might just be a little bit of a reminder or inspiration to go, hey, I'm going to call up my friend and book this activity in, or my partner and I are going to go off and do this thing on the weekend. So there's lots of fun things to do. Sometimes we just need a reminder to go, oh, I wanted to do that. It's been on my list for 2 years. I'm going to finally go to that art gallery.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we have talked recently that maybe interest rates come down in the future, they're not down yet. So people that have a mortgage are feeling the pinch. People that have a rental are also feeling the pinch because the people that have the mortgage on the house are paying more, so they ask you to pay more. So those things are still going to be here, and we've just kind of got to roll with the punches, so to speak. And as you talked about in your book, Buying Happiness, and you've talked about in plenty like courses and podcasts that we've done, it's about rearranging priorities a lot of the time. Budgeting is not necessarily about sacrifice. I don't really jive with that. Definitely rearranging priorities. And this is one way where you can still have the priority or the outcome, a little bit of that happiness thing with, a tighter budget. So where do we start, Kate? I know we had a few different suggestions from the community.
Yes. So when I put a lovely photo of you up on Instagram and asked what people's entertainment ideas were when they needed to do something budget friendly, got a few responses. One from Pinot Grigio said yearly memberships such as the zoo, which I know Mitchell Snedden from our team talked about, that he and his son absolutely love their yearly membership because it's a really low pressure way that they can go to the zoo every second week and they're not trying to see all the animals. They can just do an hour or two and see one thing and then come again next time. So I think yearly memberships can sometimes be really good value. Also said eating out weeknights, so maybe a pub steak night or a pizza night, or having a picnic at a local park, which is a great idea.
Yeah, that's taking advantage of the local steak nights and things like that. If you're going to go out, you said to your partner or to the family, once a week, or even your friends, we're going to go out. We don't want to be living at home the whole time. Maybe you just pick the night that it's like pub trivia night or the Palmer night or Palmy, depending on where you are. It's very political.
I'm seeing more and more of those pop up, like doing pasta or pizza or various steak nights. More and more places are offering that on the weeknights. So they must be trying to get patrons because maybe they're struggling.
Even my local cafe is now never done it before, doing a burger night. Like these types of things happen pretty regularly. So if you can take advantage of that and, enjoy it, that's one thing for sure. Our friend of the show, Tim Branson, writes in and says, pretend you're a tourist visiting on a $0 budget and hit up all the what's on pages. So if you go to what's on Sydney, what's on Perth, what's on Melbourne, a lot of the times there are a lot of like community events, craft markets, screenings, different things that are happening in your community that are often free. And the reason that they're free is often like the city councils and these types of things want to stimulate activity for all the businesses and cafes and restaurants that are in the area. So what they do is they put on these events, free, you can go along and you can get the good bits for free and you just save money on the other bits. So it's actually a really good thing to do. I know this is crazy popular in our hometown, which is Melbourne, Kate. The What's on Melbourne thing is huge.
It's a good reminder as well, because something else you can often do in capital cities, I'm not sure, maybe not in the regional areas, but there's often those pay what you feel walking tours. They're sort of run in capital cities all across the world. And you just sign up, you go along, you can learn a bit more about your city. I mean, I've never done a walking tour of Melbourne, but I probably would learn a lot if I did. I have done a free tour of the State Library, though, and that was a lot of fun. Got to go up into some of the off-limits areas, so that was a bit of fun last year. But free walking tours, pay what you feel in your capital town, pretend you're a tourist, and you'll probably learn something new.
Yeah, you will too. So Amar writes in and said, mini golf. Mini golf is entertainment on a budget. I don't know if they mean mini golf in their own backyard, but mini golf around the corner, it can be a heap of fun. I could get around this for sure. There's remember those? I don't know if you've ever seen them, Kate.Maybe I'm showing my age here. Like tons of fun. Like those different places where like
holy moly.
Yeah. You kind of look from the outside. The holy moly is more popular. I remember there's a big one on the Gold Coast. You look from the outside, they kind of look like a big, like a fun factory, like a factory that's been painted primary colors, and you've got all the different things that you can do in there. So that's heaps of fun. And then we had one more submission.
Yes. MZ said, walk with friends, hiking, riding bikes, clubbing when it's a free entry. So there you go. Buy concert tickets that are resold. I don't know. Maybe sometimes that's cheaper.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got another one for that in a moment on where to get tickets and that sort of thing. But I was actually thinking about this the other day. Now, I know you're more of a State Library type gal, Kate, and I do have a streak in me that's likes a bit of fun. At least back in the day, I did.
Oi. I would say the State Library is very fun.
It is very fun. I agree. But
they have Ned Kelly's armour at the State Library of Victoria.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever seen that?
Well, no, I have not. Yeah, there you go.
Missing out.
You are living it up. But, the nightlife scene, I was thinking the other day, I'm very happily in my 30s now, but I was thinking if I was 20 today going out, like if I was a uni student or if I was a younger person, I've been hearing stories of $25 to enter a club where you go in and then you go and buy a drink that's $20. It must be so expensive to go out. And so I can get around MZ's part here where they say that like clubbing when it is free entry, I mean, that might say more about the club or the bar or wherever you're going. But I could get around that being free because I can imagine that.
Expensive going out. My cousin had a fun idea. Instead of going out for dinner at all these fancy places in Melbourne, he was just trying all of the places' chips. So he was going out to each place and just trying with his partner and just having the chips and maybe a glass of wine. And he just wanted to find the best chips in Melbourne. I think he's still on the quest though, so I'll update you if
we get where the best chips are. For folks that aren't in Melbourne, there's something down here called Schnitz, which I think won Australia's best chip. I think it was last year. Sorry to someone if that's not true, but that's what I last heard was Schnitz chips were the best in Australia. So if you get the chance to try them, give them a crack. Kate, we do have a few different categories of entertaining yourself and friends or family on a budget. We've got different categories. We've got TV and movies. We've got books, shows, activities, vacay. So let's crack into it. In the TV and movies category, what are some ways that we can entertain ourselves on a budget?
Yes. So a lot of the streaming services, this is a bit less exciting because you're doing it at home, but a lot of the streaming services do have promotions if you sign up for the first 3 months, or they might be doing a promotion for your bank that you get a certain amount of months free. So take advantage of these offers, but just make sure to put reminders in your calendar to cancel. So a lot more people are just having one subscription for a month or two, cancelling it, and then moving on to a next one. So I think they really get you when you have multiple. But you can use all these loyalty offers, like even I'm going off TV shows here, but Audible, they'll give you really good deals if you cancel or you're a new customer or a returning customer. So there's not really an incentive to be a loyal monthly paying customer. I mean, I don't think Amazon needs the loyalty points. It's not a small business. So just things like that, make use of all of these offers going around. Some libraries still do DVD. So if you've got a DVD player or your parents do, that might be worth using. shop back, you can get cheap Hoyt's movie tickets for $11 to $15. I think Sophie shared that one with us.
Oh, cool.
I haven't used it myself.
Sophie, our designer. Yep.
Even a lot of cinemas do cheap Tuesdays, or one of the cinemas I saw recently was doing cheap Sunday mornings if you went before a certain time.
Good for kids.
So just look at all of your local cinema websites if you want to go to the movies and what rewards programs might plug and play, because cinema tickets can be really expensive these days. And if you can find a deal or find an off-peak time to go, that would be a really good idea.
Yeah, a lot of the like Telstra and Optus and those types of things have relationships with those providers, so you can get cheap tickets a lot of the times as well.
Yeah, I think they're the main things I have for TV and movies.
I've got a couple of others. So a lot of the streaming services are now trying to block us from sharing our access with friends and family. Like they'll look at the IP address and be like, there's at this residence, there looks like there's 3 TVs, but at that one, there's another 3 TVs. That doesn't make sense. That must be 2 different accounts. So they've started to clamp down on that. However, some of them still allow you to have different IP addresses and whatever. So you could have your friend or your family log in on your Stan account or your Amazon account or whatever. So you can still share multiple profiles. My brother messaged me the other day. He's like, hey, what's the Stan login? And I was like, bro, we canceled that like months ago.
You're still trying to get in.
I was like, you get it, and then you share me access, and I'll give you whatever. Hopefully you're not listening, Stan. But you can still kind of do that. You can get away with that in some ways. The other thing is...
Also, if you're a student. Sorry, I got very excited there.
Yeah, if you're a student, you can get discounts, right?
Yeah. And if you're going out with your parents, they may be concessions now because they've hit the other end of the spectrum. So
they get the
if
seniors.
you're buying tickets for them, make sure you're getting seniors if that's relevant.
Yeah. Another thing is... I probably found myself, you know how we did the detox recently, we got rid of some subscriptions and whatever. I actually found myself watching a lot more SBS On Demand and ABC iView. In particular on SBS On Demand, I love the Alone series. And like, I think all of them are on there, whereas on the other, the paid streaming services, only like 1 or 2. But on SBS, you've got like Alone US, Alone Sweden, which is what I'm watching now. Alone Frozen, Alone Australia. Not great, honestly. We did ourselves a massive...
Season 1 was good, though. Gina has my heart.
Oh, amazing. But to be honest, we did not paint ourselves in glory. People are surviving in the Arctic for 50 days, and they can't even survive 3 days. That was disappointing for me. I was like, let me at them. But we did have some true superstars in there, which is good to see. But you can make the most of those free tools. And there's also other services like through your library and that sort of stuff that may enable you to get things cheaper, like audio books and that sort of stuff. Like we had someone just this week comment in the Rask community about that. So make the most of those too. They're totally free.
Yeah, don't sleep on your local library. I mean, your council or some of your taxes are paying for it anyway. So often you can just set up an account. It's free. You can do most of it online. You don't even have to step foot in the library, though. Some of them are really nice to go into. And then you get online audiobook and ebook access. So many people don't realize that the library is more than just physical books these days. And it saves a fortune on Audible costs just renting audiobooks and ebooks.
Yeah. So that's the next category, which is like books and reading, Kate. You're a published author, so you are well qualified to speak on this topic. What other things can people do?
I don't know, start a finance podcast and everyone sends you their books.
That's true. You do get a lot of books. I will say that.
Yeah, but all different qualities. So but they don't send me fantasy books or anything that's really up my recreational alley. So I would definitely recommend sharing books with friends. I recently did a book swap, so that was really fun. Everyone brought a few books that they had read and they were happy to part with, and everyone took a few home. So that's a really good way to talk about books, have an activity with friends, bring people that maybe don't know each other as well together because it's something to talk about. Like doing a book club.
Are you part of a book club?
Yes, all year, and it's been so much fun. It's just a great way to bring like-minded people together. You spend half the time not actually talking about the book you've read and just about other books and all sorts of things going on, but it's a really good low-cost social activity. I know Mitch in our team is also in a book club.
Is he really?
He's reading Frankenstein, so it's quite different type of book to what we're reading.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Ah, Mitchell. Okay. Or as the barista likes to call out, Mitchell. Michelle, okay, I'll bring that up. Spotify, you can get, this is a massive hack right now. If you're a Spotify premium user, you get 15 hours a month and that's normally enough, Kate, to get through probably one and a bit like audiobooks for most people, I'd say.
Yeah, and especially if you are wanting to read some finance books, they can be a little dry or hard to get to if you're reading them physically. So a lot of people have listened to books like The Psychology of Money online via Spotify as an audiobook. So that could be a really good way to listen and learn on the go, because most of us are driving or getting the train somewhere to work during the week.
Yeah, shout out to Tesla owners. They just removed the Spotify premium app in the Teslas. Don't know why. Conspiracy. But anyway, that would have been good.
Does that mean you have to play it out loud through your phone?
You have to put it through the phone, through Bluetooth. That's okay. You know, these things happen. First world problems.
It's hard work being a Tesla owner.
It is. Yeah, it's so hard. Anyway, moving on to the next category, which is shows and performances. A lot of times you can get involved in community events. I might say a performance that you can get involved in is your local sporting club. I'm just a huge fan and advocate for supporting local sports clubs. I think for youth mental health, I think for socialization, teamwork, so many life skills come from being part of a sporting club. Whether or not that's a team sport or whether it's tennis or something like this, it's just so good to be out in the sun and to encourage younger people and all people really to get out and about and use their body. So that's one thing.
Did I tell you I joined up to my local bowls club?
Did you really?
Yes. My sister and I are now officially members of the local bowls club. It was about $100 for a annual social bowler membership, and it means we can go to any of their social bowling sessions on Wednesday night and Friday afternoon and Saturday and Sunday. And I think they've got $6 wines. They've got a few of the oldies trained up with RSAs to run the bar. So it's a lot of fun just popping around for an hour.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, which is I'm a member of the local bowls club, but I'm a social member, which means I don't actually play the bowls.
Yeah, I'm not playing pennant.
I just have the wines. Okay. Well, and you know what? Cheap drinks often. Really cheap drinks. So
yeah, well, we've got a whole lot of different friends locally to sign up. And so we just sort of go maybe once every few weeks as a social thing.
And in like big cities and regional cities, oftentimes the bowls club have the best, like they've got the best property. So they're like right in the middle of town. They got the park around
location.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good spot to have a Sunday arvo drink if you're that way inclined.
Yeah. All sports clubs, they're great social ways to meet people in your local area, especially I know a lot of people when they move to a different state for the first time, whether it's for work or something else, they join a local social sport, and that's how they start to meet people in the area. Because it's very hard otherwise. Otherwise, you're just meeting people at work.
Yeah, like things like mixed netball during the week, or futsal or soccer or bowls. These types of things you can do, and they're often pretty cheap. And oftentimes it's like pay per play or something like that. If you're just trying to get involved, like $5, $10, these types of things. I know in some regional areas there's things like the YMCAs and the community hubs where the council basically has facilities, and you can just go hire a basketball court for like $10 an hour or something like that. It's like really, really, really good value, and you can take 10 or 20 of you down and do it every week. And all you got to do is just pop something on Facebook or WhatsApp and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Does anyone want to come down? Great way to meet people, as you said. Now, there are different ways. I know a big part of our community, but also our team, is things like gigs and nightlife and these types of things, Kate. So there are ways in community events, theatres, all that sort of stuff. There's good ways to get tickets on the cheap.
Yeah. So this is probably not to a gig, but if you like musicals, plays, ballets, operas, all of that kind of stuff, there's a good app called Today Tix. So if they're trying to shift seats because they haven't sold out the show for the night, or they've got a lot of tickets for a show coming up in a few months, they'll often put them at a fraction of the price up on this app. And they also run a lottery as well for about $24, $25 tickets. So I haven't been successful so far for Beauty and the Beast, but I have been able to get lower cost tickets to different shows that way. Also, if you do like going to see shows on a regular basis, preview nights are often a fraction of the full price cost. So, or going on the weeknight or going on a matinee can be really good. The matinee is the 2 p.m. on a Sunday kind of time. And also just sign up to, a lot of these times you won't know about all the things happening in your city. So if you're, for example, if you're in Melbourne, you sign up to the Arts Centre, you sign up to the local like Michael Castle group that put on the musicals in town, and then they let you know when the tickets are coming out so you can get first dibs on preview night tickets for a fraction of the cost. So otherwise you just don't know what's going on if you're not walking around the city on a regular basis.
So if you head to something called lasttix.com.au, it's a similar thing. It's got deals all over the country. Doesn't really matter what it is. You'll see $10 off, 40% off, and they just direct you straight to the official ticket site, because a lot of the times you need to be careful where you do get your tickets. It's another one called Half Tix, different ways to get discounted access. And like you said, just sign up. Like there are some newsletters that you can sign up to, like What's On, to Tim's point earlier on. You can sign up, just get the newsletter, and it gets delivered straight to your inbox. And
sign up for your local comedy or fringe festival mailing list, because often when they release the events for the year, they'll do a 25% off 48-hour special. And so you can get tickets to fairly well-priced events to go out and have a night with friends, and you don't have to pay the full price. So that's always good.
Yeah. Now we've got some activities that we can also share with people. So beyond just like the performances and that sort of thing, so many different ways to get involved. Outdoor fitness classes. Something that you educated me on is geocaching, I think, or geocaching. I think
geocaching? Yeah. I used to do it.
Tell me about this. For anyone that hasn't heard, for anyone that's like 30 plus, maybe, I don't know, maybe I've got this wrong. What is this thing?
Yeah, so if you Google geocaching, it's a worldwide activity where you go hunting for different objects that people have hidden out and about. So you sign up, you'll get some clues about where this object is. It might be, like when I've done it in the past, there was like a plastic container and it had a little notebook so you can write your name in it that you found it. And you have to follow these clues and try and find this. It might be a little object, it might be a container, it might be something hidden somewhere, and then you go and find it, and then you log that you found it. It's just a worldwide treasure hunt it's crowdsourced.
Worldwide treasure hunt. After you told me this, the thing that came to my mind was Voldemort the first geocacher? Like, he was hiding Horcruxes all over the world, and Harry went and found them. This is basically the gist I'm picking up.
I haven't thought about it since I was a kid, but I remember it being really fun when I was in primary school.
Okay, so if anyone is like a geocacher, however you pronounce it, let us know, write into us, tell us like the best experience you've been on, and we will share it in the next Money and Chill, because that's something that I hadn't heard of. There are a lot of, like I said, like craft markets, seasonal festivals. You can even do things like food truck events. These are particularly popular coming up in summer. So we're entering that now, which means that there'll be more of these things, more of these activities available. The sun comes out, everything comes alive. So that's one thing. You can also do things like, it's more digital, like remote things. So you can basically take a physical event for a virtual event, have some friends around, and make it your own. What else have you got for us, Kate?
I really recommend, and I've mentioned it lots on the podcast before, but I think it's super value, is just doing dinner nights or movie nights with friends and actually have people over. I think we got a little bit out of practice of having people in our home during lockdowns, a lot of lockdowns in Melbourne, but it's a really low cost and super fun way. You're not kicked out of a restaurant. It's fairly easy to go home. If you're hosting, you don't even have to get an Uber home. And it's so much cheaper. Instead of paying $15 for a glass of wine, you can just get a $15 bottle and share that. And maybe even you cook together, or everyone brings something different, or you have a pizza night, board games, movies. It's just really fun and wholesome. And it's something I've really gotten into over the last few years. So it's a great way to still catch up with friends, have groups over, and not make it too much effort, because I think that's sometimes one of the reasons we do just go out with friends, is that, the thought of hosting at the end of a work week can be a lot. But if you just make it really low effort, low stakes, and just something really easy and fun.
Yeah. Sun's out, guns out, Kate. And this is when the parks come alive. But also councils around Australia are putting out like exercise equipment and things like that. You see them in your community parks. Great way to go with a friend, to feel like you're being social, to get some sun on your skin, and to be active, to go and use that equipment. When I was in Europe, I was blown away. In Amsterdam, they have like these like the little gym areas outside, like just like pull-up bars, like things for doing sit-ups and whatever. And there were like, people would take their own weights as well, and they would leave them there, and then someone else would use them, and then they would go back the next day and use them. And there would be dozens of people, men and women, doing workouts in the park. And There was even like disabled fitness areas, and it was just great. No gym fees, no lock-in contracts, no joining fees, no awkward weirdness that comes with like being in the gym when there's 5,000 mirrors everywhere. It's literally just everyone outside working out, being fit, being healthy, and being social at the same time. So if you haven't used that gym membership in like months, you're probably not going to use it. Cancel it, go to the park. Like you said in your notes, take a soccer ball, go
Make
with a
it
friend.
fun.
Yeah. Go out and just give it a crack. You'll be surprised how that compounds and snowballs.
Yeah, I think you need to find a form of exercise and activity that you find fun. You don't want to force yourself into something that's just completely unenjoyable because you're not going to keep it up. I also really think that volunteering is a great activity that people could consider doing. It's something that you can do on a regular basis or a one-off basis. There'll be heaps of things in your area.
Soup kitchens.
Yep. I volunteer and chat to a lady once a fortnight at an aged care home because a lot of people don't get any visitors. So if there's a place near you, there might be a aged care visitor scheme. There was a few sort of like reference and police checks to do, but it was fairly easy to get involved with that. Maybe a local op shop. A lot of events and conferences, when they come to town, they put on a huge amount of volunteers. And so you get to volunteer 1 or 2 days and maybe you get the rest of the conference free and things like that. So sometimes if you see a really cool event and it seems a bit out of your price range, you could ask if you can volunteer.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good idea. Finally, on the topic of vacations, camping trips have got to be the most memorable things for young kids. I got to admit, like if the finance brain is on and I've got a small family, like a young family, I am not taking them on a plane. I'm taking them to the bush and letting them just run wild. And I feel like those make the best memories. And they're also way cheaper, Kate, than jumping on a plane to somewhere fun.
Yes. I mean, I wasn't a super camping family because my mum did not really like the idea of sleeping on an air mattress, but I did heaps of outdoor camping and trips through Army cadets. And it's the best memories I have from my high school experience, whether it's scouts, cadets. If you have young kids, they're often low-cost ways for them to have fun on a budget as well, supervised and learn lots of things about themselves, and just visiting regional areas. So we often think holiday going to Europe, but that's a very sort of modern thought, I think.
And very expensive thought.
Yeah, a very expensive thought. And so maybe just thinking, well, what do you want out of holiday? Do you want to explore, try new areas, go to wineries? Is there a way you can get that locally and visit other areas and areas that you've probably never explored in your state? There's a lot of places in Victoria that I have never been and I want to go.
There is some simply amazing places in Australia, whether you're talking about like all the bays of South Australia, just like the forests of Tassie, Margaret River, WA, like Daintree Rainforest, Central Coast, Sunshine Coast, like amazing places, the Murray River, like so many amazing places here in Australia. It costs you bugger all to go there. Even if you stay in one of those motels or like a big four, kids will have an absolute blast. Adult kids will have an absolute blast. You know, you don't have to worry about an Uber back to the house. You just stumble over to the tent. There's a saying, Kate, you don't really know someone until you've moved in with them or you go camping with them. So if you do go with friends, just be prepared. They might be a bit uncomfortable if it's their first camping trip, and that's to be expected. So just be patient with them while they're outside their comfort zone. But heaps of fun and really, really low cost, I think.
Yeah. And especially even with Airbnbs, a lot of the times if you can find the website of the Airbnb, you can book directly with the owner for maybe 10 or 15% discount because they don't have to pay all these platform fees. So everything's negotiable.
We actually did this for the trip that we've got planned next week. Booking.com, we found a price that was $200 more. So we went through the Raise app and booked in and blah, 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 blah. I think we'll get about $130 back into our Raise portfolio, our ETFs, because of this. But then we went online and we realized, like, hold on a second. Normally Raise is like the same price as Booking.com. Like people worry that like, oh, well, because you go through Raise, you pay more, blah, blah, blah. No. But we went on there a couple of days later and we found through Booking.com that, hey, there's why is it cheaper all of a sudden? There was no difference in the listing. So we contacted Booking.com and they're like, yep, no worries. Just send us the link within 24 hours and boom, done.
And they paid the difference.
Yeah. They just give you the one down.
Wow. I mean, especially with these large companies, you can always ask and they might say no, but I mean, there's no harm in asking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like asking for a better rate on your mortgage.
Absolutely. That's probably the big one. Not really entertainment, though. Kate, this has been interesting.
It might give you an hour of something to do.
It might, yeah. This is, maybe you do it with a glass of wine in hand and you make it a bit of fun. But, entertainment on a budget, so many wonderful ideas. I'm probably just eyeballing it here and here. We've probably got like 40 ideas, so many good responses from the community. Emez, Tim, Pinot Grigio sounds fun. Amar, thank you everyone that wrote in. There's heaps. Send us your suggestions. We'll incorporate them in the next Money and Chill. We love to hear these ideas because this is what it's all about. Making the most of your dollar. You still get a lot of happiness. Speaking of, pick up Kate's book, Buying Happiness. It's on the book behind her. Learn to invest your time and money better. Kate Campbell, author. I can say that. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for listening, everyone.
Thanks for watching this video on the Rask Network. While you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get videos each and every day on business, finance, investing, and so much more.